Today's episode is sponsored by Jane, a clinic management software and EMR that helps you handle your clinic's daily admin tasks so you can free up your evenings and weekends. The Jane team understands how precious your time is and recognizes that charting can often be the most time-consuming admin task for practitioners. That's why they're here to help. To save you from having to start your chart notes from scratch, you can check out Jane's template library, which gives you access to templates that have been generously created and shared by health and wellness practitioners in the community. Once you have a template you like, you can choose to customize it further with charting tools such as range scales, text fields, checkboxes, and more. To see how Jane can help you spend more time doing what you love, head to jane.app to book a personalized demo. Or if you're ready to get started, you can use the code WELLNESS1MO at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new account. Hi there, and welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'm Kendall Hagenson.
And I'm Anna Rudell. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey of creating innovative, patient-centered wellness centers.
As experienced health and wellness providers, we've seen firsthand the challenges of delivering comprehensive, holistic care to our patients.
That's why we created this podcast, to share the knowledge, strategies, and insights we've gained from our own experiences and from connecting with experts in the field.
Each episode, we'll dive into a different aspect of building and growing a successful wellness center, from developing a strong multidisciplinary team to implementing cutting-edge technologies and treatment approaches.
We'll also share practical tips, resources, and real-world examples to help you overcome common obstacles and streamline your processes.
Our goal is to empower you with the tools and confidence you need to create a thriving wellness center that truly makes a difference in your patients' lives.
So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your existing practice to the next level, you're in the right place.
Get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
Today on the show, we have Dr. Susan Fox. I know Susan from Norcal Fertility Group, which is a consortium of fertility acupuncturists here in Northern California. Susan, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us how you got to be doing what you're doing?
Oh, certainly. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So I am Dr. Susan Fox. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine in Marin County, California. And how I got to be doing what I'm doing is a bit divine inspiration. So I won't go into the details, but truly I thought I was going to be doing something different. But at the time I began my practice, fertility acupuncture was just coming into the foray with research showing its efficacy. And I was across the hall from a reproductive endocrinologist, and voila, it was really a grassroots organization that called on me to learn this practice and become an expert in it. And it's been really a delight to do so.
Oh, and you certainly are an expert. I was telling Kendall earlier, like you're an OG acupuncturist, Susan.
An OG? Is that an old goat?
Just means original.
Gotcha.
It's one of the first ones and one of the best ones.
Well, thank you. I've definitely been around this block for about 24 years now. So,
love it.
Yeah.
Susan, you have recently moved from private practice to online education. Tell us more about what you're doing now.
Yes, thank you. So like most of us, I love working the patient model. However, it is clear that the need far exceeds the ability time-wise. And I designed a course that integrates Chinese medicine and acupuncture without needles. So it's an online education model, and the program is entitled Your Fertile Health at Health University. University spelled Y-O-U, the University of You. And it includes methods by which one can really do the same how should I say, derive the same benefits as an acupuncture treatment without the needles. So it uses near infrared protocols, and it uses a series of protocols called TIAs, which is Transcutaneous Electrical Acupoint Stimulation. So in the privacy of one's home, she can receive her treatments 6 days a week by following these protocols, which far exceeds the number of treatments one could expect to enjoy in an acupuncture setting.
Fertility acupuncture is always fascinating to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a mental health counselor by trade. And
Mm-hmm.
here at our clinic, we're multidisciplinary. And so we've always had acupuncturists on our team. And we've had acupuncturists who have specialized in fertility in the past. And, some people are really skeptical about how this can even work, and it feels magical. And so I get really curious about the 5 element model in TCM and how that's important to treating infertility or working with fertility.
Yeah. Well, I would say it does feel magical, doesn't it, when you're receiving acupuncture? And
Yeah.
yet it's evidence-based. So there is even now a website called Evidence-Based Acupuncture that goes through and culls research that has proven, to the extent that anything can be proven, its efficacy with a variety of conditions, including fertility. So I think that's been very helpful for us in the field to follow
Yes.
the sort of scientific method and show outcomes that really do make a difference. With regard to the 5 element model, which is what I employ in this Your Fertile Health program, because I think it really touches the heart of the person who's trying to get some resolution. She's going through an existential crisis, and so she's been given diagnoses, she's been given treatment plans, she's been given protocols and stims and all the things. And in many instances, by the time I'm talking with her, she's kind of lost her sense of who she is. So this 5 element model reminds us that we are nature, that we are creatures of nature, and that there are aspects to our beingness that are reminiscent of the 5 elements in nature. And we call them wood, fire, earth, air, and water. And so this course that I designed starts with a quiz. It's called yourfertilityquiz.com. And it asks a series of questions, some physical, some physiological, but here for the 5 element method, more emotional. So this would probably be very much of interest to you. And we can identify certain aspects of ourselves that are unique, but that are not isolated. And so we'll get the results of this quiz, and it helps us identify, oh, we are more an element wood, for instance. And so it really gives us some actionable items that we can employ to begin to make the difference, because our diagnosis is really the result of a pattern imbalance that is really the result of our primary constitutional element going a little bit sideways. So I think it helps ground the person to realize, oh, I'm not my diagnosis, and there are things that I can do, and there are ways in which I can take these I would say, how shall I use the word? I don't want to use the word pathological, but the so-called negative, aspects of our tendencies, but then it also shines the light on our positive. So for instance, in that wood element, someone's quote negative presentation might be of anger and irritability and just that. But the positive of that is when her energy gets freed up, she is the most creative person, and then those ideas start flowing, and she then wants to start learning a new skill or a talent, or remember that she used to love to dance and wants to go dance again. So it really does help us realize we've all got multiple sides to ourselves, but there are ways to get back into balance.
And from your quiz, Susan, the recommendations that you give, what might you recommend for somebody who's negatively wood?
Mm-hmm. So for someone who's negatively wood, first of all, we would talk about some of the foods, for instance, that might help open that up. So as you know, Anna, the wood element opens up and softens with sour. So I'll be making recommendations for some sour food. That person would do really well to have her lemon water in the morning. I would say she's the one who is probably more inclined to shake it off with a dance party in her living room, or, before the Zoom meeting, just get up and, really just move a little bit. She's also the one who I would say, remember your creative life force. What did you love to do when you were 9 before you started to get, really more refined with your, woulds and shoulds of what the world, the external world and authority figures are asking of you. And it has this ability to, I don't know, create a deeper breath for her. So those are some examples.
I'm gonna throw Kendall under the bus right now because she's a dancer, and guess what she was doing right before this podcast, Susan? She was up doing her movements.
Oh,
I was going to say, maybe I'm a wood element.
I would bet you are. The wood element also is the person who is sort of, it tends to be lean, thin. If she could, she would want to have all of her conversations in bullet points and just like, let's get to the point, which she doesn't do, right?
It feels like you're inside my friend Kendall right now.
I will say my lists are in bullet points, but in conversation, I think part of that as a therapist is, it's not so linear in that way all the time. But that is funny to me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and that is that person. Whereas another person may be more inclined to, want to just kind of meander through her conversation, and another one would want to be more perky and sprightly and sparky in her conversation, hiding her pain or discomfort. She's the one who's the heart, the fire energy is the one who wants to just be, everything's fine, nothing's wrong. Let's go, just, talk about you instead of me.
I love Chinese medicine so much. And we have these conversations happening in our clinic all the time from our practitioners, and I just really appreciate this language around, the 5 elements. And
I love it because I think it helps us all. We can feel seen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Susan, I'm curious, in all of your years of experience in this work, why do you feel like 1 in 5 women struggle with infertility?
Well, I will first challenge the word infertility. It's the word that is out there and bandied about, so I use it. But I really think that most of the population is struggling with clinical subfertility. And, infertility is a diagnosis, then let's a treatment plan and an insurance reimbursement come into play. But really why I think it's happening is our modern lifestyle. We're living in a toxic world now. And I don't want to be Debbie Downer about it, but we are. And so the onus is upon us to implement as many detoxification protocols and lifestyle and nutrition and hydration. I see you're about to have your water. So exactly. So I think that when we don't have proper detoxification, and when we're burning the candle at both ends, and when we are going from Zoom room to Zoom room to Zoom room and becoming zombies by the end of the day, we are having this negative impact just downstream all the way to our reproductive health.
I'm curious, Susan. I mean, we both work in the same area, and I'm curious as to why you chose the 5-element model to create a program around, an online course around. Do you practice in traditional TCM
I do.
model, and then you've got the 5-element model over here? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, the reason I chose 5-element for the online educational platform is for the emotional component. When I practice traditional TCM, it includes the organ theories and what organs might be out of balance, but that can be a difficult or confusing conversation to have remotely or through a set of program materials. And I really wanted the messaging to land in one's heart, where I think that when we feel seen, we can begin to listen better and then take some instruction without kind of feeling as though we're checking off yet another series of to-dos or boxes. And in my private practice, when people come into my practice, they come in oftentimes laden with having checked off all the boxes. And so therefore they're very confused. They've got a plethora of supplements, many of which are are doing the exact opposite of what we want to do. So I really wanted to find a way to just say, this, if you can see yourself in this 5-element Chinese medicine model, then you will step into the recommendations that we're making. And some of them are kind of across the board recommendations, targeted circulation, hydration. But the purpose of beginning with the 5-element model was really so that I could tap into the emotional component, because I do feel that that's the area in which most people are being sort of shunted aside. We're dealing with their ovaries and their uterus and their stems or their sperm, and we forget that this is a human being. And sometimes when ourselves, we forget that we are human beings having a life experience that just happens to include this fertility journey.
One of my favorite things to tell patients when I was in practice was when we would needle the point right on the chest bone, between the breasts, and a patient would ask why I might be needling there. And I would say, our heart in Chinese medicine is directly connected to our uterus. And when we're having fertility struggles, we often will shut that avenue off to protect ourselves. And part of the treatment that we're using is to re-establish and reopen that connection so that we can, house our baby.
Exactly. Yes. It's true. It's true. Because if our heart is closed off, if we just flip it to the physiological, we're then having, for our protected heart, elevated cortisol, elevated adrenaline, and we know hormonally downstream, again, that's going to be an impediment. So when we can open our heart, we actually can begin from the beginning again. And it gives us a place where we can say, okay, I can start from here and make progress.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, very elegant.
Susan, I wonder if there are one or two things that our listeners could do at home to improve their fertility.
Of course. So I speak to the 4 pillars, right? And these should be of no surprise to anyone, but our nutrition, whether we're putting targeted circulation to the ovaries and uterus or not, we're putting that blood flow. Is it nutrient dense, or is it what I call Twinkie rich blood? Because if we're eating junk food, then the nutrients in our blood are not getting to these end tissues and cells. And so please be mindful of your nutrition. We're supposed to, especially in our reproductive years, be, really mindful of having some good organic vegetables, a nice organic piece of protein. And if you're a vegetarian, we can, find ways to help you get the protein you need, but we need our protein sources. Healthy fats are important for the cell wall and for being able to get nutrients in and out of the cell. And then I try to suggest, a kind of a low carb, not a no carb, but I say, let the carbs be more condiment style on your plate, not the way we typically eat in our Western world, where the carb is the predominance of the plate and we might throw a little bit of vegetable on top of it. So that's one pillar, nutrition. Hydration, of course, we're mostly water, so we need to be hydrated. So often I'm having people come in and they're getting fluids, but they're not getting water. So I want to make sure they're getting, water that has some electrolytes, and they don't have to go buy another package of things. Your electrolytes can be simply a squeeze of lemon and a pinch of Celtic sea salt, and you've got your sodium, potassium right there. And then I talk about circulation. So the protocols that I have very specific targeted circulation protocols using infrared and using TENS from the end of a menstrual bleed, either through ovulation in a cycle where someone is trying to conceive naturally, or through the next menstrual cycle. And then this is probably the most important for everybody, right? Is sleep, restoration through sleep. We need proper sleep-wake cycles. So we are creatures of light, and light is fuel for our cells. So if we're staying up all night and then getting up later, we're missing some key opportunities, first to detox, and then to actually take in the benefits of the energy of the day once the sun has risen. So those are not always easy, but they are simple. So if you can just pay attention to that. And then, of course, self-care. So the fertility quiz that I have is free. And so the people who take the fertility quiz would get free resources and ideas specific to their element type. But there are many things we can do for our self-care. And it's not a one size fits all. Not everybody should be going and doing, HIIT training in the morning, and not in a time of our cycle, but perhaps should one be doing that kind of training. There are times that one should be doing, walks in nature or yoga, or then maybe some HIIT training or some focused, muscle expansion training. But it's not the same for everyone, and it's not the same throughout the cycle. The other thing I would say, if I may, is to be mindful of your supplements. I advise that folks get their supplements from a provider, a practitioner who knows what to recommend or prescribe and in what doses and when and why. Because when we just use Dr. Google, we can't and then go out to that other place that to get everything. We can be taking really stuff that is just not good for us. There's research that shows that the predominance of supplements out there do not have in the bottle what is labeled on the bottle, and most importantly, are not bioavailable. So,
yes, if you take anything from this episode, please stop ordering your supplements from Amazon.
Yeah, I was not going to say it because I didn't. But yes, I will second that emotion. You don't know if Jane Smith is fulfilling that supplement order, and if she bought those supplements 2 years ago and they've been sitting either in a dank room or by the light source and have now just been ruined. People will come into me saying, with supplements I'm recommending, but it's clear they haven't purchased it through my stores, because they say, well, look at this. This looks different. And I'll say, well, then I can pretty much tell you that you did not get that from me. So, yeah.
It reminds me of a story of my mother I went home to England and she was taking star fruit. And I said, well, what's that for, Mum? She said, I don't have the faintest idea, but I daren't stop taking it.
Yes, exactly. And that happens a lot. I don't know. My neighbor took it, and for my population, my neighbor took it and she got pregnant. So I'm taking it and I'm thinking, well, lucky your neighbor, and that's absolutely wrong for you, or you're taking it at absolutely the wrong time. So yes, please do use the resources of a trained professional. There's a reason that we go through all of our training, and it is ultimately on your behalf.
Susan, it's just been such a joy to chat with you today. I'm so glad we're able to have you on. And you have a giveaway for our listeners, your fertility quiz. If you want to just share a little bit more about that and how people can find the quiz.
Sure. So it's www.yourfertilityquiz.com. It couldn't be easier. And this is the 5-element model fertility quiz. And it will give you an instant report, and then it will send you a much more in-depth report to your email inbox. So I really think that you'll be pleasantly surprised with the amount of free information, takeaway, and actionable, again, usable information that you'll find just at the tip of your fingers that you can use as a regular resource.
Wonderful. And if people want to reach out to you directly and connect with you, how can they do that?
Mm-hmm. So the main website for my business is healthuniversity.co, not .com, and the U is spelled YOU, so it's healthuniversity.co. Healthuniversity.co will get you everywhere you need to go. There's, the quiz can be picked up from there. My email can be picked up from there. You can schedule a free fertility assessment call with me so that we can find out if my course is right for you, and if not, if there is another avenue that I can make recommendations.
Wonderful. Susan, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a delight chatting with you. And I would say, whether you're trying to conceive or not, go get that wood element information.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks for joining us on the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. We hope you found the episode insightful and helpful.
Remember to visit our website at wellnesscentercreators.com for show notes, additional episodes, and more resources to help you on your wellness center journey.
We always love hearing from our listeners. Your feedback, questions, and experiences are invaluable to us and help us shape the content we create.
So please don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime. You can contact us through our website or via social media. We're here to support you.
If you know someone who could benefit from the information and insights shared on this podcast, please take a moment to share the show with them. Together, we can help more health and wellness professionals create thriving practices.
Thank you again for tuning in and for being part of a Wellness Centre Creators community. Your dedication to providing exceptional patient care is truly inspiring.
We can't wait to share more with you in the next episode. Until then, keep creating, innovating, and making a difference in your patients' lives. See you next time on the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.